This is one of those books that I wish I could forget so that I could read again. It's been a while since I've done this, and if the algorithm has dropped you off inside my library, welcome to the Kgosi Bookshelf. On this corner of the internet, we have honest conversations about the books that we read. We engage over them. We have a book club called the Kgosi Readers Book Club. We meet twice a month with members from across the world, and we have discussions and we deliberate about those books. We also have a film club where we speak about the movies or TV series that we watch on screen. The last meeting we had, we spoke about The Polygamist. We also have a bookstore. So if you're looking for something to add to your library, click on the link in my bio. It's going to take you to www.kgosibookshelf.com. And I've recently loaded new books so you can have something to read this July. I also used to be on the radio. Every first Monday on 5FM, I'd be in conversation with Karabo on 5 Nights to talk about my book recommendations for that month. It's July. We are halfway through the year. And I'm always very intentional with the book themes that I choose for every month. I was a bit blank when it came to July though, because I've been in a reading slump and struggling to pick up a book, but I have decided to change things this month. So I took a tour through my bookshelf looking for books that spoke to immigration, that spoke to living in the diaspora, that spoke to finding a better life elsewhere. And I've picked a few which I'm going to share, so keep watching. When I think about this topic, I think the one book that always gets to me is Exit West. This is one of those books that I just bought because I walked into, so I used to have this thing at Bargain Books. Every month after I'd get paid, I'd go to a Bargain bookstore, the one in Cradlestone. There was a lady that used to work there, and I'd just say to her, what books should I buy this month? And one of the months she recommended this book. They used to have like a 3 for 100 Rand special or 3 for 150. I can't remember. And I bought this book. I didn't know this author. One day I was just looking for a book to read. I picked this up and I couldn't put it down. So what is Exit West by Mohsin Hamid all about? Let me read the synopsis. In a city far away, bombs and assassinations shatter lives every day. Yet, even here, hope renews itself. Welling up through the rubble, somewhere in the city, 2 young people are smiling, hesitating, sharing cheap cigarettes, speaking softly, then boldly, falling in love. As the violence worsens and escape feels ever more necessary, they hear a rumor of mysterious black doors appearing all over the city, all over the world. To walk through a door is to find a new life. Perhaps in Greece, in London, in California, and to lose the old one forever. But what does it mean to leave your only home behind? Can you belong to many places at once? And when the hour comes and the door stands open before you, will you go? And like I said, I couldn't stop reading this book. And I think the really intelligent thing that the author did here is abstracting the journey of moving from one country to another. And by that, I mean, in this book, they just walk through doors and find themselves in a new country, and then they have to navigate and figure out life in this country. And honestly, I can see why this book was shortlisted for the Man Booker Prize in 2017. I think Mohsin's writing is just amazing. After this, I went on a witch hunt looking for all of the books that Mohsin has written. And today, I think I've read most of his books. So Exit West, something that you definitely need to read for July. And it's so small, you can get through it. Like I literally got through this in one sitting and I would read it again. This is one of those books that I wish I could forget so that I could read again. When people ask me for book recs, regardless of the month, We Need New Names by NoViolet Bulawayo always makes it onto the list. This is one of the first books that I've read within the African literature genre. And this is another one of those books that I couldn't put down because it was so funny. I absolutely enjoyed reading this, and I made my book club read it. Let me read the synopsis. Whenever foreigners visit the shanty town of Paradise, they always ask Darling and her friends Stina, Chipo, Godnosbo, and Bastard to smile, and sometimes even to dance for the camera. Here are some of the things Darling and her friends have to smile about: playing country game and find Bin Laden, stealing guavas, gifts from NGOs, singing Lady Gaga at the top of their voices, the smell of Lowbell's bread, and some of the things they don't: living in a shanty, how to get rid of the baby in Chipo's stomach, the bulldozers that flattened their old lives and could come again, the sickness, losing their men to the mines. They dream of the paradises: America, Dubai, Europe, of Angelina Jolie, Oprah, Obama. But as Darling finds out, those promised lands bring their own problems for children, parents, and grandparents looking for a new place to call home. And you can literally feel the shift in Darling when you read from the chapters when she's home in Zimbabwe and when she finds herself in Detroit, Michigan, in America. This is definitely one of those. I think this is a 5-star. This is a 6 out of 5-star read. Absolutely enjoyed it. It explored the lives of Zimbabweans living during the political and economic turmoil, and also what life is like when you leave your home and go find life in another country. In this case, it was in America. If you've read We Need New Names, let me know your thoughts in the comments. I definitely would recommend this to somebody who wants to know more about what it's like living as an immigrant, or somebody who just wants to get into reading. Limbs. There exists the city built by labor, mostly men, who disappear after their respective buildings are made. Once the last brick is laid, the glass spotless, the elevators functional, the plumbing operational, the laborers, every single one of them begin to fade before disappearing completely. Some believe the men become ghosts, haunting the facades they helped build. When visiting, take note: if you are outside and there are buildings nearby, ghosts may already be falling, may even have landed on your person. This is a reading from one of the first few pages of Temporary People by Deepak, Unnikrishnan. Another one of those books that I randomly found at Bargain Books, and absolutely enjoyed this book. This is a collection of short stories and essays about people who are immigrants who are living in the Middle East. And this book details their experiences. I watched a YouTube video recently of a flight that goes from the Middle East to Bangladesh that takes over 400 passengers. And most of those passengers were either coming or going to the Middle East from Bangladesh. As I was watching that YouTube video, I was reminded of this book, because this book speaks of the experiences of people coming from countries like Bangladesh who go to the Middle East for a better life. This is one of those rare books. Like, I cherish this book, and I wouldn't borrow this book to anybody because I might struggle to find another copy. This was the author's debut work, and I think they delivered an amazing piece of work with this. I actually haven't read I Did Not Die by Tebello Mzamo, but I was drawn to this cover from the first time I saw this book. It was released 3 years ago, so when I found it at one of my fave secondhand bookshops, I knew I had to have it. Let me read you the synopsis. Butupere finds work as a miner in South Africa and has to leave his wife Mtatisi and their 2 children in Lesotho. Almost 3 years go by without news from Botu, and the resourceful Mtatisi is left taking care of their family. But it is ultimately their secrets that threaten to unravel the already delicate thread that has been holding them together. Some of Butu's troubles are of his own making, while others are rumored to be caused by witchcraft, especially with the mysterious Mukoto always lurking on the periphery. Then one day, Boto decides to take control of his own fate. This haunting story explores the harsh realities of a mind worker's fragmented family. And as I'm reading that, I'm reminded of Stimela, the song by Hugh Masekela, where he speaks of a train coming from different countries in Africa to bring mine workers to work in the mines of South Africa. This doesn't look like, it's a hard book to get through. Definitely moving it up the TBR list. If you've read this, let me know what were your thoughts on this book. There isn't a lot of books that I read with a narrative from Lesotho. Lastly, from the acclaimed author of Chintu, behind me, Manchester Happened by Jennifer Nansubuga Makumbi. And this book speaks of the lives of Ugandan immigrants living in the UK. It's not often that you find a hardcover book at a discounted price, so I knew I had to have this book. Even though I didn't know what it was about, I only knew the author, and I just want to add everything by this author to my collection. I've read the first short story in this book, and that short story spoke about, it was from the perspective of a child whose mother has developed an alcoholism problem, and they go to a Christmas party, and the mother essentially embarrasses the family in front of the other Ugandan families that are living in the UK. I wanted that story to go on. That's the thing with short stories. The story gets good, and then you have to imagine what happens after that, because the author just ends it off and it's not turned into a novel. So I need to finish reading the rest of the short stories in this book. And if you didn't know who the author was, The Guardian says, Makumbi does for Ugandan literature what Chinua Achebe did for Nigerian writing. If you have not read anything by this author, you need to do better. Either get Chintu, The First Woman, or in other countries it's called A Girl is a Body of Water, or Manchester Happened. We would end off my radio segment with Karabo asking me to do a run-through of the books that I have recommended in order from the first one. So let's do it. Firstly, we spoke about Exit West by Mohsin Hamid. Then we spoke about We Need New Names by NoViolet Bulawayo. Then Temporary People by Deepak Unnikrishnan. Followed by I Did Not Die by Tebello Mzamo. Then lastly, Manchester Happened by Jennifer Nansubuga Makumbi. Like I said, the theme for July is books about living in the diaspora, finding a life elsewhere, being an immigrant in another country. Let me know in the comments which books you would recommend that are centered around those themes. I look forward to seeing what books I should be adding to my shelf this July.